First there was me. Too tall, too skinny, too orange.
Well, we're in for a quirky little ride through time and romance. That's what 2013's About Time is all about, and Tim is the perfect character to follow for sure. Spoiler alert, while I may give you my opinion on the film, that's not a substitute for watching it for yourself. Links to the film are in the description for those that want to try it. Next, Tim describes his mother as beautiful in a non-traditional sense. His father, who always has time now that he retired, Uncle Desmond, who was in his own world, and his darling sister Kit Kat, who is his favorite person in the world. A very close-knit family that followed a schedule that always made time for them to spend time together. Then Tim brings up the New Year's party where he meets interesting groups of people, including the love of his life for a night.
Happy New Year!
Well, not her, obviously. I was just kidding. That was just painful to watch on both ends. The next morning, Tim believes it to be just another normal day, but when his dad brings him into his office to talk, he finds out that the rest of his life from that day on will never be the same.
But the men in the family can travel in time.
Well, that's a funny thing to wake up to. Starting off the new year right with dad for sure. If that was me, I'd just think that my dad was still drunk from the party the night before. After his father tells him how to do it, Tim goes upstairs to his cupboard where he clenches and thinks of a time to go back to. Sure enough, he's back to the night before like he never got to the next morning. As he ventures through the crowd downstairs, he sees the exact same events from the night before, and he even gets to kiss the girl he wouldn't last time. She's still not his true love. No amount of going back in time would ever make that happen, but he does talk about what he's going to use it for when he gets back. His first question is the same as anyone that's watched a time-traveling movie: money. After his dad explains that he has to use the power for the things that would really make his life as happy as can be, Tim decides that he's going to use the powers to help him find love. Later that summer, Tim believes it could help with getting Charlotte. I would think it would take more than time traveling to make that happen. As the summer plays through, Tim tries subtle little things, but never takes the leap to be with Charlotte. Once the final night arrives, he comes to her room to talk about love, but she's ready for him. She explains to him that the last night of her visit was never the time to do it, and he decides to go back in time to try it an earlier time. Once he goes back halfway through summer, he confesses all of his feelings for her, and she tells him to try her on her last night. It's now that Tim realizes that it was never gonna work between the two of them.
All the time travel in the world can't make someone love you.
It might be a sad fact, but we already knew it wouldn't change things. What's meant to be will be. The very next day, Tim leaves the nest to stay in London with a friend of his father. He plans on using his newfound power to help him find love in a big world. As we meet Harry, we get a good feeling for what kind of adventure we're getting ready to experience. Harry's dry sense of living goes perfect with Tim's gullible innocence, and I'm excited to see them interact anytime.
That is my daughter. Have sex with her if you like. Apparently everyone else has.
Poor Tim has no idea what to do or expect, but at least he'll have his own space. As Tim goes about his everyday life, we find out that Tim is actually a lawyer, and that's pretty much all his life consists of for 6 months. Tim goes to work, goes home to Harry, and does it all again the next day. Then, one day Tim goes out with Jay, and they go to a restaurant that is completely in the dark. They also have blind people serving everyone, which seems like a dangerous idea depending on what they're serving you. Imagine sitting in the dark, then all of a sudden someone falls into your lap and spills hot soup or coffee on you. That feels like a lawsuit waiting to happen. It's here that Tim meets Mary in the dark, and the two of them hit it off immediately. After an amazing dinner in a pitch-black restaurant, they get up to meet outside, and when they do, Tim is still head over heels in love with who Mary is. Mary seems quite fond of him as well. After the two of them exchange numbers, Mary takes off to catch up with her friend, and Tim walks back to his room where he sees Harry. Harry has had a disastrous evening where the lead actor in his play forgot his lines, so naturally Tim goes back in time to fix things. It makes you wonder about the mechanics of time travel. Is he just not at the dinner where Mary is? How would he accomplish being in both places at once? Not like this. Sure enough, he fixes the problem, but then... Yep, another actor forgot his lines too. Just go back and give an announcement to everyone to go back and reread their lines. Cover everyone's tracks. So he goes back again and makes cue cards for that actor as well. After the play, he goes to call Mary, but her number isn't there anymore since he never actually went to the dinner in this timeline. Go figure that things don't work that way in this time-jumping movie. That would be too convenient. But of course, he remembers a single comment from the time he did eat with her, and it helps him connect where she'll be next. As he sits in an art exhibit that he expects to find her, he asks Kit Kat to come and sit with him, and it's now that Mary shows up. Of course, she doesn't recognize him, but he doesn't miss a beat. After a few awkward encounters in the gallery, he soon finds out that Mary has a boyfriend now.
Boyfriend?
Yes.
No. No, you don't have a boyfriend.
Do I not look like I'd have a boyfriend?
Can you imagine how painful all of this would be if he didn't have the power to go back in time? If he was just stuck with whatever he ended up saying? What's the weirdest thing you've told someone you wish you could go back and do over? After finding out when they met, Tim goes back in time to stop the two of them from getting together at Mary's friend's party. Sure enough, he uses the little bit of information he got from the last encounter to get her to go out to dinner with him. This time, he finds out that she actually reads for a living, which sounds perfect for Tim and his family. As the night comes to an end, Tim walks her back to her flat where the two of them say goodnight. Aw, it's perfect. They could end it right here and it would be a great ending. Since they're not ending here, I'm gonna assume something bad happens at some point too.
I'm gonna go into the bedroom and put on my new pajamas.
Right.
And then in a minute you can come in and take them off.
Well, obviously we're gonna get some good parts first though. Thank you for being forward and not wasting any more time. This might be her first technical meeting with him, but Tim has already met her over and over. Give the guy a break. After an awkward first encounter in bed, Tim tries 2 more times and each time is better than the last. The last time they even end up on the floor by the time they're done. By morning, they're well acquainted with each other and rushing to work. As we get a montage of their life progressing each day, it becomes clear that they really are meant for each other. Shortly after, Mary's parents arrive and it goes about as well as you would expect.
Jim actually, lives here. Really? With you?
Yes. Yeah, but no oral sex, I promise you.
Good old Tim. Obviously, he goes back in time again, and this time the entire evening goes well. Later, he asks Mary to go to the theater with him, but she refuses, so Tim takes a coworker. After the play is done, Tim catches sight of Charlotte. After multiple failed attempts at saying hello and seeing how she is, he decides to give up. But suddenly, Charlotte runs into him on her own outside. The two of them end up going out to eat to catch up, and it goes a little too well.
If we could travel back in time, maybe I wouldn't have said no.
Why do you have to pop up now to get in the way? There were a whole 6 months that Tim was alone with Harry that she could have popped up, but no, she just had to pop up when things were smooth with Mary, and he walks her to her room. Why? Why risk everything? But he gets credit because he goes ahead and turns down Margot Robbie of all women. Tim runs back to Mary, who was asleep, and asks her to marry him. Without hesitation, she says yes and thanks him for not doing one of those melodramatic proposals. When he goes out to stop the music, he tells a whole band to leave, and with that, the proposal is done. Soon after, Tim and Mary go out to his parents' house so they can all meet her, and while they're there, he announces that they're gonna be getting married quite soon. They also announce that Mary is quite pregnant as well.
You're pregnant?
Yeah.
Oh. Who's the father?
Uncle Desmond is probably one of the most light-hearted, carefree souls. It gets hard to know when he's off his rocker or trying to make a joke, but no matter what it is, his love for his family never falters. It's also interesting that they never mention if he is from Tim's father's side of the family. If he is, then he has the power to go back in time too. So you begin to wonder if that's what's messed his mind up. Once they're ready for the wedding, they get married near Tim's family's home, and his father's favorite song plays as she walks down the aisle. When they leave the church, it's the windiest and rainiest weather ever seen after a wedding. During the best man speech, Tim realizes that he picked the worst person to do a best man speech for him, but after he goes back and changes who he picks, he realizes that it is even worse than the original. After 3 attempts, he finally decides to go with his father. Down the road, Mary gives birth to their daughter, Posey. Don't you love how kids always seem to be a turning point in these stories? Like having a kid just changes the dynamic of who's the kid, the parent, and the friends. Somehow Tim still has his old friend Jay, but Jay is still the obnoxious, lonely playboy, and Tim just held his daughter for the first time. Soon after, they move to a new house in town and Posey grows up. At one of Posey's birthday parties, the family gathers yet again, but everyone is waiting for Kit Kat to show up. Once her boyfriend shows up without her, Tim fears the worst.
We had an argument this morning over nothing, but she'd been drinking, so...
And this greaser-looking boyfriend let her run out and grab the car. If you're with someone, don't let them drink, fight, then drive. Then this fool went ahead and showed up alone to her family's event. He's not even part of the family. Tragedy had to strike sometime, but Kit Kat is definitely the soft spot with most in the family. Kit Kat is okay at the hospital, but Tim isn't okay with just okay. He approaches the scumbag boyfriend and gets the specifics on when she left the apartment. After he goes back in time, he brings Kit Kat to the party himself. After sitting down with Mary after the party, Tim decides that he's gonna try and do something to fix Kit Kat's life.
Because we're gonna go back in time, and you're gonna do some things differently.
I feel like this should be considered breaking the rules of time travel, but this film hasn't put down any rules. After they go back in time, Tim makes sure that Kit Kat's boyfriend doesn't get a chance to get in a relationship with her. Then Kit Kat punches him in the face. It was amazing. Kit Kat is a trooper, and seeing her take hold of her life again was absolutely beautiful to watch. And funny. When they get back to their own time, it turns out that at some point, Kit Kat fell in love with Tim's friend Jay. When Tim goes back home to Mary and Posey, he comes face to face with a child that is not Posey. Instead, a brown-haired baby boy is in her place. After talking to his dad, he finds out that he can't go farther back than the birth of Posey, otherwise a new sperm will have made it instead. After coming to terms with this, Tim lets Kit Kat hit that car in the drunk driving accident, and he goes to the hospital to be with her. After making her realize that things have to change, Tim heads home where he greets Posey. That would be trippy though, to get so used to your child over the years, then you pop back and find out that your child is just a completely different being. Nope, couldn't do it. Needless to say, they end up having yet another baby, so now he can't go back further than that birth unless he wants to play roulette with his baby's identity. Later on, Tim's mother calls to deliver some grim news to them, and Tim, Mary, and Kit Kat go out to their parents' house. It's here that we find out his father has only a few weeks left to live with cancer. After they get the pleasantries out of the way, his father tells him the secret to being happy with the powers. Live every day twice. Once for the worries of everyday life, and the second time to enjoy the little things.
Some days, of course, though, you only want to go through once.
This film is a tough one to judge because you can almost see everything coming from a mile away, but the way they deliver the scenes makes you feel the emotion behind every bit of it, different than just knowing the story in your own mind. Just before the procession, Tim takes a second to go back and see his father one last time, before saying goodbye to his father for the real final time. When they get back home, they tuck their children in and try to talk about the future.
Well, I mean, 2.
That's more than the Chinese are allowed.
Weird timing for a joke right after his father's funeral, but it's also a weird time to talk about more kids too. But to each their own, they've got nothing but time. Have a whole litter of ginger kids! When Tim mentions that saying yes to more kids means saying goodbye to his father forever. Well, Mary is quite persuasive, and sure enough, he says yes. Just as the night the baby is set to arrive comes, Tim goes back yet again before he knows what baby it is.
My son.
My dad.
Seriously, for a film that doesn't have any crazy out-of-this-world drama, the cast did an amazing job taking a story that could almost just be a real-world story and making me feel it. When Tim gets back to his time in his life, he simply lives every day as though he had come back to it on purpose already. He cares for his family and lives his life to the fullest. Then the credits roll. I know I usually put more opinion and wisecracking in my opinions of these films, but this film was an absolute gem to experience. Every now and then, everyone needs a story like this one to help them realize where they should focus in life. Focus on what's really important. Fantastic film. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more like this one. Comment what you think I should watch next, and I'll see you in the next video.